talking about baby daddies, we have baby daddy, hey, senior president of the baby daddies. We have none other than Frankie Just Gym It. And I'm talking about him like this because he is the one that set the mood. He set the scene for this story very perfectly because he said, please, when you're talking about poverty and struggling, do not count me in. I am not boarding. Because he was actually on an interview recently and he was being asked, did you ever think of the consequences of having this many children? He has 4 children, but I think that was such a backhanded question because why would you ask me something like that, you know? And he said, I never really planned for these children. I was just smashing. So this is where the trouble comes. He said he was just smashing, okay? And then went on to say he has never had the anxiety around, you know, when a girl comes to him and says, hey, I'm pregnant, we're expecting a child. He has never had such an anxiety of where will the provision come from. He even went as far as saying, I have never really struggled with finances. I am from a well-off family, never been broke in my life. Like, I do not know how that feels. He went on to say even being a student abroad and here in Kenya, he was always getting a stipend from his family, pocket money, where you give allowance.
Oh, allowance.
He always gets money from his family. I actually had to go back and watch the interview just for context. I didn't want to take him out of context and just take a story and run with it. And I watched the whole interview. It was this show. It's a money podcast or something like that.
Yeah, the guy who speaks about money people.
Exactly. So they were just, you know, breaking down finances. It's like, I have never had an issue with money, never been broke, can't be me, can't be you. And then he went on to say his lifelong goal, or rather his dream, was just to have a fitness center. And he actually recently opened one in Rungai. It is doing very well. It is less than a month old, but it has a lot of traction. So good for him. So as you're struggling with your finances, okay, before you pick up your phone, stretch your fingers and type something about somebody you saw on the internet, please remember, they do not have financial problems. As a matter of fact, you know he's my neighbor. I'll be seeing him everywhere. I see the black car every time. In the supermarket, we bump into each other. So I'm not going to talk badly about him. All I'm saying is, people have money. It is you that is struggling. You and your family, you're the strugglers. So keep quiet.
It reminds me of a story that I saw today about a guy who was talking about his life. And apparently his dad was asking him the question. Well, his name is Kimathi. Kimathi wanted to buy Kimathi wanted a pair of sports shoes, right? Soccer shoes, to be specific. Soccer shoes. You can already tell the environment you're speaking in. And the dad is like, why are you always asking for shoes? You have so many shoes. Me, when I was your age, I did not wear shoes until I didn't wear shoes until I was 10 years old. And Kimathi looks his dad straight in the eye and goes, Dad, you didn't ask your father for shoes until you were 10? Wow, you have such a low opinion of yourself.
Exactly.
You should do better. And then the dad is like, what? What do you mean?
What happened?
It's like, when I was your age, you know, my father asked GK, my father. Oh, he kept asking for the shoes. The dad is like, when I was your age, I had nothing else. And even you, I've given you a house, I've given you education, I've given you a good life, and here you are asking for basic shoes. And Kimathi is like, well, let me tell you the difference between you and I. Your father was poor, my father is not. So Dad, buy me shoes.
Attacking and defending.
You know, I'm just like, it is so interesting because if you really think about it, children who come from wealthy families, children who come from well-off families, don't really have the struggle the same way the rest of us do. Really, truly, and honestly, there's nothing you can also say about it that's wrong because their parents did work hard so that they could provide a good environment and provide the best for their children. And therefore, there's nothing wrong with their children actually enjoying the best that their parents did provide for them. There's really absolutely nothing wrong with someone being given a stipend, being given an allowance, being given pocket money, being given extra money to do whatever, even in their 30s and their 5 baby mamas, still being given money to support the children, still being allowed to stay at home in their family home because all of these things were bought for them. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Of course, there is the initiative that we hope people do get eventually and they start to make their own money. But even if they decide not to, guess what? Daddy and mommy made enough money so I can live my best life. life. So if you didn't ask for shoes until you were 10, that's a you problem. If you didn't have education and all of these things, it's a you problem because your parents didn't work hard. I think Frankie Just Gym It really, in this case, 10-0. Frankie Jim It just got us. He got all of us. There's nothing wrong with him having his father's money, his mommy's money. It's his money at the end of the day. They worked hard to provide for him. So let him live his best life. Sure. I mean, stop collecting baby mamas like their trophies. But like, even if he does, he can afford it. So like, live your best life, boy.
It's as simple as that.
Speaking of which, I've gotten so used to be waiting for Turi to say something until today. Anyway,